You are in for a real treat. This episode was originally recorded for my other podcast, but for you, it's been upgraded and transformed, and now you have the Ask the Pro show. So everything mentioned in this episode will now be found on chrisdufay.com, plus so much more, as I've designed the Ask the Pro podcast and chrisdufay.com to give you exactly what you need to grow your business success and for you to have the money, the freedom, and the happiness you want, making a bigger and better impact to the world unselfishly. So now it's time to delve straight into this episode, and I want you to lap up and enjoy every single second of it. Welcome to Ask the Pro. I'm your host and your coach, Chris Dufay. This is where I'm going to give you what's needed to create the online business, the money, the freedom, and the life that you want. Now, this episode is all about freedom. This is about you living the life that you want and designing your business to make that happen. And when I met Natalie Sisson, that I'll bring on in just a short second, we met in Bangkok as we were both speaking at a business event, and you will see why she's highly qualified for this topic, and this interview will really unveil 5 of the most important factors that you need. We're going to be delving into such things as how you can start creating what will literally free up you and your time and allow your business to grow bigger, what the best productivity hacks are so you can get more done in more free time, how you need to set your business model up the right way and not get swept up with what can bite you in the backside later, how you can plan your year ahead in reverse to everyone else and have the ultimate focus, and so much more. This is jam-packed. Now, this episode is brought to you by My Body Blends and my favorite, the Superfood Elixir. So if you want the fuss-free and proven programs, guides, and products to transform your body and health, be sure to head on over to mybodyblends.com and tune into the My Body Blends podcast, as that is coming to you every single Monday. And if you're loving this, then you can put a huge smile on my dial. Click on over and give me a review. Tell me what you're really thinking and help this get into the earbuds of so many more people around the world. It really does help when you give a review, and also make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out, as there are a ton of great episodes coming your way, ready to rock and roll in the library for what's to come. Though, just to make sure you really get the most out of you being here with me right now, you need to click on over to chrisdufay.com. That's Chris, Dufey.com, as right now waiting for you are the free guides and trainings that are straight out of the Pro Circle. Now, these are things such as how to grow your following, or if you want to double to triple your clients, or if you want to start and grow your online business. Right now, just go to chrisdufay.com/start here. Right there is where you can get exactly the training that you need for where you're at, your experience, and for what you want to create as well. So if you want the business, if you want the freedom, and if you want the steps just to make that happen, don't be a peanut and miss out. Head on over to chrisdufay.com/start here. Now it's time to bring on Natalie, and it's really time to unveil how this freedom factor is going to work for you, because this is something I'm so passionate about right now. Obviously, it's something I'm really working day in day for myself and made happen, but it's always about making this happen for you, and this is how. The gorgeous Natalie Sisson, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast with me. I'm pumped. It's super early for me because I wouldn't do this any other way. You're the first person I want to talk to today. And I had the massive pleasure of meeting you in Bangkok not that long ago, as we were both presenting at the same conference. And you are a genius at so many things. So this interview I'm really looking forward to, because we're going to be running off on different tangents all over the place, but obviously we're going to try and stick to a theme. But Natalie, really, honestly, I wanted to say a huge thank you for taking the time out for me and the listeners.
Oh, no, and thank you so much for all your energy and for actually talking to me at the Bangkok event. I think I came up to you and you were super friendly. And I was like, that's awesome when you meet people that you've seen online and you wonder whether they're going to be a douchebag offline or they're going to be the cool person.
I was about to say the exact same thing. Sometimes you meet someone and you're like, you're a massive douchebag. I don't want to talk to you. And you like walk the other way. But no, we continue talking. So it was good things. All right. I tell you what, Natalie, before we jump into everything, because obviously there's so many things I want us to dive into, because you can dissect a lot for what's critical for the entrepreneur these days. But firstly, who are you and why is Natalie Sisson so phenomenal?
I don't know. I should need to put that on my about page. Why is Natalie so phenomenal? So I am a New Zealander. Don't hold it against me. And I have been living on the road out of my suitcase for about the last 5.5 years, calling myself the Suitcase Entrepreneur, which is the business that I've founded and run for those last 5.5, 6 years. And essentially, I'm all about helping people create freedom in business and adventure in life. So I do that through my blog, through my podcast, through my book, through videos and products and programs that I have. And I'm pretty much obsessed with freedom and helping people get it.
I think this is something why we vibe so well together, Natalie, because obviously we've engineered and kind of designed everything the way that we want to roll. And I think that's so important. And I tell you what, actually, from a mutual friend of ours, James Schramko, something that I learned from him a while ago was like living a life without compromises. And I was like, when you really sit down and try and design everything to the way that you want, what are the compromises you're making every day, and what compromise should you not be making? And I think this is why this episode is going to be so powerful, because that's about actually designing exactly what you want. There's a couple of key things I want us to dive into. Now, you said one thing that's really critical and I totally vibe with is systems, and obviously sexy systems, because you said it so well. If systems aren't sexy, they're just absolutely boring and no one wants to do with them. Now, dealing with an entrepreneur that's wanting to, let's say they're wanting to get out and start becoming the suitcase entrepreneur. They're loving the freedom factor that we're talking about. They want it for themselves. What are the systems in place? Like, where does someone start? How do you help someone actually kind of evolving that around for what they need?
That is a great question. And I think I'd take a step back from it even more. And I'd ask them, first of all, what type of business is going to be right for them to live a freedom lifestyle. So there's lots of people who have great business models, but they're not necessarily best for taking on the road. And you'll know this as well. That's when you have a lot of active revenue streams. So you have clients that you're either coaching or consulting them, or you have to be there in person, or you're offering services whereby they expect more of you to be actually there physically. Mm-hmm. So that's a really good factor to look at first and foremost. Is your business set up to go mobile? And can you bring in more residual revenue streams, have products or services that are sort of automated or do essentially sell by themselves along with your marketing and your promotion, so that you don't have to be so physically active in everything? And then it's just a matter of, I think, taking the leap. And as you start traveling, quite honestly, Chris, things just happen and you're like, how do I deal with that? So, okay, didn't recognize the time zone issue here, or need to use something like Calendly to actually schedule out times that people can't book me for 3 a.m. in the morning by mistake. So I'm only going to speak to people when I'm in this time zone between these times, blocking it out so people just can't book in to access you unless it's on your own time. And then other cool things that you need to think about for offline, like Gmail offline is really, really useful when you're traveling. So you can do all your emailing offline. Once you sync up again, they all send. And I think it's just I could go into so many different tools and things, and I will, but it's more a matter of you start to know these things as you travel. Like, oh, what didn't I consider before? Like, I need to have decent internet and be hardwired in for calls like this. If I'm going to be using Zoom or Skype or GoToMeeting or doing webinars, I need to be in a place where the internet is not like Bali or New Zealand. And then other times, like, what do you really need to do to be able to work offline? How active do you have to be? Do you have to be online at certain times of the day? And all these things affect like where you're going to travel and how location independent you're going to become. Does that make sense?
That makes absolutely great sense. And I think you're bringing up things that people really need to think about, especially the business model side, because like I completely remember, like my business models from since I first kind of started online is completely changed. It's constantly pivoted because obviously these questions continue to arise. One example was I actually had one mate here that he was living in Bali for years and years, but him and his wife have actually just moved to Medellin because he got to a point in his business where he's like, I need to be doing calls on US time. I'm not going to be waking up like 2 a.m. to be doing calls here in Bali. Like, what do I do? And it's like, whoop, shift on. And now he's living in Colombia. So it's a great example there of how to like pivot and move the business to where you want to go. I'd love to know, like, what are some other systems you're using in your business to how you structure everything that you're doing at the moment?
So I have become the sexy SOP queen, which is standard operating procedures. And that's why I call them sexy, because standard sounds so boring. And essentially, and I'm sure you have some of these in your business, that's literally when you write out the complete step-by-step way to do a certain task in your business. So I've done a lot of that over the years where I've been like, why am I still updating my blog posts? So I've instead just shot a short Jing video for 5 minutes and say, okay, this is how you put in the content. These are the headings. These are the images. These are the keywords. This is the tagging. And then I put that into a file for my virtual assistant, and she types up the standard operating procedures. So anybody else that I hire could come along and technically follow and be able to publish, edit, script, etc., the podcast, aside from do the interview, which is what I do. And it just makes your life so much easier. But the reason I think people don't get to this point is they're like, oh, it's just quicker and easier for me to do this one more time than to show somebody else how to do it or how to document it. And I say BS to that, because every single time you're just doing it because you're quicker and better at it is still you doing the task. And the whole point here is trying to remove you from doing these things that aren't allowing you to enjoy more time with your family or your friends, get out and paddleboard and all those good things, or simply be working on the stuff that you're a genius at.
Oh, boom. You said something exactly that I was thinking about right then. You should really only be doing what you're good at. And I don't know if I want to say this publicly, because some people are like, oh my God, you do so much. And it's like, not really. But the truth is, like, say with these podcasts right now, and how I can run 2 podcasts, and you obviously know this exactly from running your own show, is like, once I stop the recording, I send the files off and I literally don't touch a thing, because the other team members do everything else, from the editing to getting it on iTunes to getting it on all the other platforms to putting it on the site to the launch. Like, it's all done. I literally don't touch a thing. So for me, podcasting is only doing what I really want to do. And that's just talking with the fantastic people like yourself. And then once I stop record, I throw it in the Dropbox file and it's done. I don't even have to think about it anymore. That's like absolutely brilliant. I think SOPs, thank you for making them sexy, because they god awful things when you're like starting out, but you need to be able to do that. And you brought something up so well. It's like, oh, I'll just do it one more time, or it's probably quicker if I do it anyway. It's like, no, that's not the way you need to be thinking about it. You need to be like thinking you need to be treating it like a real business, not just kind of like a solopreneur, but how can this scale bigger?
Absolutely. All the time. And how could I remove myself from my business completely if I wanted to? Because at the end of the day, you kind of want to fire yourself as the CEO. So you can go off traveling and enjoy your time and be offline and not worrying about things. Now, that takes quite a lot of work to get there. But I think in the end, that's actually the ideal for most people. And I know some people might go, no, I always want to work. And I'm not saying you're not going to be working, but imagine all the awesome things you could be working on, the businesses you could be investing in, the people you could be advising and mentoring, the multiple businesses you could be running if you've essentially removed yourself as what I would say, the person who's holding everything up. I think it would just be really exciting to see how businesses work if more people took on that attitude of, I don't have to be here all the time, and it can run without me thanks to my awesome team, these awesome systems, and all these cool tools that we have access to.
This is all killer and no filler. You seriously banged something on the head so well. This is going to be a bit of a neck-snapping tangent right here, but you brought something up as like firing yourself as a CEO as well. This is so important. I'll put 2 hands up right now and saying I fell into this trap earlier. And that was obviously, okay, you can set yourself up to literally be able to have full freedom from where you're working, but are you actually free from not having to work all the time? And this is something I see so many people fall into, and something that, like, especially with my business clients, I'm like, no, let's set this up the right way first, because this is obviously about living the life that you want and not having to work. And obviously we want to love our work, and that's what we're talking about, but you don't want to be doing it all the time, because that's not how you produce the best type of work either.
Absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love working on my business and sometimes in it. And I love the stuff that I'm left to do outside of what I multitask to my team. But I don't want to be doing this all the time. And there's times when I just want to like literally take a month off and know that everything's cool and smooth sailing behind the scenes. And when I talk to specifically, I will call out Americans here, they are often stuck in that mindset of I can't be seen to not be working because people think I'm slacking off or I'm lazy, etc. Whereas I actually think it doesn't bode well at all if all you're doing is working 24/7 and you take no time off and you take no holidays. That person, to me, has not got it going on, and they've completely missed the point of why they're doing what they're doing. So I'd really love people to get past that oh, I have to be seen to be busy all the time and doing really, really well to actually be succeeding. I love seeing people who are like, hey, I'm taking off for a 3-month cycle ride and I'll see you later. But also my business is just going to keep paying me and things aren't going to fall over and it's going to be really awesome and I'm living my best life.
No, so true. And this is something I'm so passionate about right now is obviously like, and like, I think Tim Ferriss said it so well, like being busy is a form of laziness. Like if you're just being busy all the time, it probably means you're not doing the right thing. You're not being efficient and effective. And I think that's a huge trap that we all try and fall into, like, especially just kind of like when you ask someone like, oh, how are you going? And they're like, oh, I'm so busy. And it's like, they kind of think it's a good thing to say that, but it's actually a bad thing when you really look at it as where it's coming from. That's okay.
Yeah, when people email me, I just have to say, when people email me and go, I know you're really busy. And I always reply back going, no, I'm fulfilled and I'm using my time exactly as I want it. Because look, I have an upcoming trip to Sydney and I arrive at like 8 a.m. in the morning. I'm going into doing a photo shoot, finally, videos. I've got a mastermind the next day. I'm going to the races the next day with entrepreneurs. I've got my birthday the next day and then a VIP coaching session. That to other people may seem like really busy. To me, that's like wickedly awesome use of my time with lots of lifestyle business and masterminding thrown in. But that doesn't make me feel busy. It's like, oh, that's quite a lot to pack in, but that makes me feel fulfilled and energized.
I love that. No, what such a great attitude. And I think that's so important. I tell you what, this kind of leads so perfectly into like, what are the productivity hacks that you're using and you're giving off that you're finding is just working like gangbusters? We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back in a split with so much more for you. Now, I know you're listening and tuning in because you know how important your health is and how this can also catapult your business. This is why I'm very happy to say that this podcast is sponsored by My Body Blends and my favorite, the superfood elixir, the powerful greens drink. Now, this is designed specially to boost energy, aids detoxification, enhances the ability to burn fat, supports healthy carbohydrate metabolism, and best of all, is voted best tasting greens drink. Now, myself and the My Body Blends team are looking for ambassadors to join. So you and your clients get the health benefits plus adding in a strong income stream for you and your business. The ambassador program, which is by application only, means you get exclusive access to sell My Body Blends products like Superfood Elixir to your clients, plus giving you the special ambassador pricing and bonuses. So once you become an ambassador, you can join the other top health and fitness players that are adding thousands to their week's income. Now, there is only a limited number of ambassadors we are taking on board, as this is a tribe leading the way together. So to apply and to join, go to mybodyblends.com/ambassador or add the checkout code that is Turning Pro, all one word, when you're going to get your own superfood elixir to order. Plus, you're going to get free shipping and a bonus to save yourself over $250 instantly. So just use that coupon code Turning Pro in the checkout and you can save over $250 right now, all on mybodyblends.com.
I would say it's coming more and more and more with hiring the right team members and delegating like crazy. So, we've all been there where we're like, oh, I'm the only person who can really do this well. And then once you start delegating it to somebody who's really capable, you're like, why on earth was I doing this for so long? And then I think delegating and outsourcing can become quite addictive. So I'm forever looking at how can I be more effective? How can I use my favorite tools of Asana, Slack, and Google Drive to basically have everybody working on the right projects, taking more of this away from me so I can focus on the good things that I'm really good at and they can do the things that they're amazing at. So I would just say those tools are working really well for me right now. And more importantly, using those tools, because there's a lot of people who pay lip service to tools and they'll get their team to use them, but they won't do it themselves. So I like to lead by example.
No, that's so true.
It's eliminating our email to a big point. So I'm really trying to get everybody off sending emails. So all our communications are in those tools because you have this long list of thread and all up to date and everybody can see it. And it's just so much easier than, emailing back and forth.
I think email is just death at the moment. It's just not, especially the way people treat it. It's not what it's designed for. And I think especially is kind of like I'm the exact same, literally using Asana, Slack, but I use Dropbox for all the file And it's amazing how when you have just these 3 simple tools, you can start taking so much away, but yet everyone's working on exactly what they need to be working on, and it's so much easier.
100%. And I do use Dropbox, by the way. I love it. It's more for storing like my digital products, all my Freedom Plan program files, and any longer term files. And then Google Drive is for active documents that we're working on, and like my editorial content, marketing, calendar, etc.
Love it. Okay, I tell you what about freeing up time? Like, it's something we were talking about a little bit off air. What do you find is really helping you being able to free up time for kind of like what you need to focus really on?
Oh, that's a great question. They don't actually know what to do with that free time. Isn't that an odd thing? Like, where I'm always working towards more freedom, and then there are times when people are like, what do I do with this time? Should I just fill it with busy stuff? And I'm like, no. And that's where I think it comes back to, what is your vision for how you want to live life? What are your important priorities? Is it spending time with your kids? Is it going out and training for a bike ride? Is it, for me, ultimate frisbee? I'm training for the World Championships right now. Is it sailing or being outdoors in nature or taking time off to go hiking, reading a book, lying on a beach, whatever it may be? Like, that's the point of freeing up all this time, is so that you can actually enjoy life right now and the fruits of your labor and celebrate the awesome things you're doing. Spend more time with like-minded entrepreneurs and people that like raise your energy levels. I'm all about that right now. And I think I'm becoming a bit of a snob about the people that I actually want to hang out with. But it's really important to me to be spending time with people who challenge me, pull me up, make me a better person, and who I can add value to their life. So I'm all about experiences and just enjoying life right now, not tomorrow, not when I'm retired.
Natalie, you brought something up that I'm so with. And obviously being a little bit of a snob about who you spend your time with, like, I just think you have to be so protective of your time and energy. But like, and especially like I got this, it's like, say, one reason why I love actually speaking at conferences is obviously surrounding yourself with other like-minded people. And it's just like this conversation is happening just because we did that. And obviously you get so jazzed, you get a new, like, you learn a bit, you get a different perspective on what's going on. And it was like amazing. So like I was only away for about 5 days, where I went to Bangkok, and then I was in Sydney. I had a mastermind, then I had to speak at another one, and then I had to like fly home back to the girls. And I was just like, but coming back, I was like, that was only a few days, and I'm absolutely jazzed right now. And I've learned so much. Like, I was slapped in the face numerous times with, oh my God, I need to change this, and okay, I need to do this now. And that's just so important. I think the less work, like in the trenches, working as much as you do and kind of stepping away, that's where the real magic happens.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because
sometimes you're freeing up space just to be present. I know that sounds really like new age, but honestly, and I'm not the best person at doing this, just stopping and breathing and taking in nature. And I find I do that when I have given myself the time to just chill out, and I'll listen to the birds and I'll watch the water and I'll listen. You just hear so much more when you're actually present and in that moment. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Money can't buy that at all. That is bliss.
No, that is so good. Okay, now something you brought up when you were talking in Bangkok, Natalie, was just brilliant. And this was obviously planning the entire year ahead of schedule to what you want it to be able to look like. I want you to dive deeper in for the listeners right now.
Okay, cool. We're going to give them behind the scenes action. So this kind of hit me in the face a few years ago, that why do we always plan out our calendars of business events, conferences, launches, all the stuff that fills our calendar? Why don't we start first with our holidays and our free time? So I challenged people at that conference to block off their holidays. I actually got them in the audience, like, do that now, pull out your calendar and block off at least one holiday, if not two, if not 3 or 4, because those are the things that get taken out straight away, aren't they? If we're really honest, like if something gets really busy with work and life, you're like, oh, well, I just won't go on that long weekend. And they are absolutely imperative for you to have. You need time out. You need breaks. They've been proven to give you more creativity, more focus, more insight, and actually improve your business often. I have some of my best ideas when I'm on a digital sabbatical, completely offline. So I challenge everybody to do that first, and then you start putting in the important things. Are you launching something this year? Are you writing a book? Are you running a major event? So that goes in as the next big thing. Around that, you can put places or things that you are speaking at, conferences that you want to attend, retreats that you might be coming to, etc. And then you can plan around that as to, okay, which times are best for me to be doing these things? Based on, if I have a holiday in September, I'm not going to launch something in October. That's just silly. If I had a major sporting event coming up like I do in June, I'm just not going to plan anything major around that because I need to be totally focused on that. Aside from my TEDx talk that I'm going to be speaking at, woohoo!
Yes.
And then you can start actually going, okay, great. Based on this, what's my theme for the year? Like each month, what do I want to be talking about? What do my audience want to hear from me? What do my customers and clients want? Theming out your content, everything that you're doing on social media that all relates around your launches. And from there, you can also plan out the media and the interviews that you want to get. And it suddenly becomes super clear in your mind how your year is going to go. There's still room for flexibility in there. You can change anything around that you want. But just the minute you get organized and you look at that, everything else just falls into place. So you're not just throwing spaghetti at a wall. You have a game plan. You know what you're planning for, your podcast interviews, your videos, whatever you're doing to build your business all suddenly fits into place because you have goals and you can see where the major milestones are for the year. It's kind of genius.
It is massively genius because I think where the genius really comes out of is you're focusing on like one thing at a time throughout the year. Like, you know, you can be like, okay, in this month, this is my primary objective and this is what I need to like work on. And then you can kind of do that for the entire year and break that down. What I find kind of is the stumbling block for so many people is that they're trying to do too many things at once and it's kind of just all mishmash the whole time and nothing really gets achieved or it's never really that high quality. So that's why I really love kind of even breaking it down to say 1 quarter at a time. What's this quarter's focus going to be? Like, what are the biggest things that I have to achieve right now? And I love like when you've got your TEDx talk coming out, it's like, your focus is just on that. And that's why you'll crush it. And then like when your ultimate frisbee's up, it's like, I just am focusing on that. And I think that's just, why isn't this taught in school? Like, it's just always like you're doing a million different classes and it's never really taught about getting this done. It's just, this is what's needed.
Absolutely. But it is, you know, I'm not saying it's really easy to do. Like in that month of June, for example, yeah, the TEDx talk is going to be taking over my life and practicing coming up to that. And then I'm going to have to switch completely into World Championship focus mode, which I've been training for months and months and months. So, and to do that, I'm going to need to free up my diary and not book anything in. I think I am running one mastermind during that time, but I know that's cool. I can do that. I love doing those. But it's just about, I know that I've also blocked out everything else in my diary. I've told my VIP coaching clients, of which I only just have taken on a handful throughout the month of June, I'm pretty much not around. So we've worked around it. And I think again, when you look at that calendar for the year, you can do that because you can say, here's what I need to do in order to make this happen and to achieve this and to have an amazing time while I'm doing it.
Love it. Okay, I tell you what would be your number one best tool that you are just loving right now?
I actually have to say I really am enjoying Slack. I'm probably not using it enough yet, but it's going to become my communication tool of choice with my team across the world just because we're all on different time zones.
Yeah.
And it's also just a really good way of keeping the comms open, as I said, eliminating the email or reducing it a lot. And just actually it forces you to kind of put things into categories. So within the Slack communications, what are we communicating about? If it doesn't fit into these things, then do we need to be discussing it? So that's one of my favorite tools right now.
I think it's brilliant. And what I actually did is actually when I was coming back from Sydney is I turned all notifications off except for Slack. I put my wife, Lauren, onto Slack. So there's just like a family channel, it's just us. So I don't get notified of anything else except just for that. And it's brilliant. Like you kind of said before, like having a bit of a technology holiday, it's amazing when you start taking away all the different streams in which you can be contacted so easily off. And therefore you can just plan when you need to do something like, okay, I only do my emails at this time per day, or I'm only checking my private groups at this time. And it works brilliantly.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it really does. That email thing is a biggie. Just switching it off and not having it open is kind of like the way to go, apart from once or twice a day. I wish I would actually follow that more often. I'm not the best person at following that, but it just makes such a difference when you don't check email until at least midday. It's incredible.
I'd say I actually check emails at 1 p.m. every day and that's it. And it's just like once you get into the kind of routine of not doing it, it's amazing how much it frees up your day. And especially, so this is something I've just been really thinking a lot about and kind of like putting into the coaching was how to be proactive throughout the day rather than being reactive. So say if you wake up, you check your Facebook or you check a social media platform and then you kind of like jump into your emails, your entire day is moving forward is always being reactive because you've got all these other streams coming into you. But when you sit down and you just do what you need to do and you're working off your own time and schedule, you get so much more done.
Absolutely. You totally do. And you feel like you're winning, like you just feel like you're a bit of a winner in every sense of the word because you've got that elusive balance. And I'm not going to say everything is ever balanced, but you do feel more in control of stuff. And that actually gives you more freedom, ironically.
Natalie, you are a winner, so don't you worry about that. That's all good. Okay, I tell you what, the listeners are going to be frothing at the mouth to learn more about yourself, the suitcase entrepreneur and everything you're doing. Where do they go right now?
Well, if they're frothing at the mouth, I'm a little bit worried about them. Maybe
hopefully it's nothing toxic.
But otherwise, they can race over to suitcaseentrepreneur.com. I would love to see them there. I have, as I said, my podcast and my blogs, and I'm at Natalie Sisson on pretty much everything else: Twitter, Periscope, Instagram, which I love. And I would just love for them to say hi on one of those platforms. Would be really, really neat. And just, come and enjoy and learn a lot.
Absolutely love it. Okay, I'm going to put all the show notes straight into there with the links to get clicking over. Natalie, thank you so much. I know I'm going to be talking to you again very soon because I always love chatting with you, but I think we're going to have to do this again. So for the listener, I'm going to try and get Natalie back on kicking and screaming. What I really want from you guys is I want you to be able to tell us, what have you learned? Is it you want to start getting into the freedom factor? Is it you started, but you're having a little bit of a stumbling block? What are the challenges that you're having? And we can answer them. Natalie, it's been an absolute pleasure and I'm always looking forward to more with you.
Me too. This was so energetic and just so much fun. Love it.
So now it's time for you to click on over to chrisdufay.com. That's chrisdufey.com to get all the guides and show notes. And if you are wanting the workshops where I walk you through how to build your online business, click on over to chrisdufay.com/start here. This is where I can give you the exact training guides and the workshops for exactly where you're at and the answers that you need. Now, every Friday I'm coming back to you with a new episode, so be sure to subscribe. And if you haven't already, you're going to be getting the world's best insights, the advice and the answers to give you the business, the money, the freedom and the success and happiness that you want. And I want to give you a huge muchas gracias for being here with me. And as always, get in touch with me via the site or via social, as Ask the Pro is about me giving you the answers that you need. So ask away.